Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup tonight for the Giants, right-hander Logan Webb, and for the Padres, right-hander Walker Buehler. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45 p.m. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, as always, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll hear from tonight's second baseman Sung-Mun Song ahead of his first start in the major leagues. We check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a little bit, our keys to today's game, and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations: La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 20-14. They're in a bit of a rough stretch right now. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games, and they're trying to avoid a third consecutive series loss. These two teams met at Petco Park in the second series of the season. Giants took 2 out of 3 in San Diego. Padres trying to avoid another series loss to this Giants team. Meanwhile, the Giants come in 14-21. They snapped a season worst 6-game losing streak last night. Speaking of last night, we had the series opener in the Bay Area.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Giants right-hander Trevor McDonald making his first start in the major leagues this season. He retired the first 2 batters of the game in the top of the first inning, but then it was Jackson Merrill.
McDonald will kick and deliver. The left-hand batter swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to center field. It is high, it is deep, it is gone. Jackson Merrill, a home run in the top of the first inning, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead. A Jacksonian blast here at Oracle Park.
Nice tribute there from Jesse to the great John Sterling. Padres had that 1-0 lead as Randy Vasquez took the mound in the bottom of the first inning. The second batter he faced was Casey Schmidt.
3-2, hammered in the air. Deep to left field, forget it. Laureano back to watch. Casey Schmidt stay hot. Game-tying solo shot in the bottom of the first inning. And this game is 1-1.
Giants weren't done. Luis Ariz doubled. He was still on base for Rafael Devers.
Here's the 0-1. Devers hits it on the ground up the middle. That's going to roll into center field, a base hit. Ariz comes in to score. The Giants take the lead. It's 2-1.
Padres still trailed 2-1 going bottom 6. Vasquez back to work. He gave up a leadoff double to Luis Ariz. Ariz went to third base on a ground out. He scored on a sac fly from Devers. Giants had a 3-1 lead. Vasquez allowing 3 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. McDonald went 7 innings and allowed just 1 run on 2 hits. He left in line for the win. Padres still trailed 3-1 going to the 9th inning. Giants righty Caleb Killian came on for the save opportunity. Ramon Laureano led off.
Ramon swings, sends it in the air, deep to left field. Ramos is going back. He's going to watch this one. Gonna go! Ramon Laureano with his 5th of the year. And the Padres get a solo shot to start the 9th. This is a 1-run game at Oracle Park.
Killian then bounced back to strike out Fernando Tatis Jr. He induced a ground out from Jackson Merrill. He struck out Manny Machado, and that was it. Final score yesterday, Giants 3 and the Padres 2. The Giants snapping a 6-game losing skid as they win the series opener. And now we turn the page to game 2 of this 3-game series with first pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Same handle there. You can also chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to today's game. How do the Padres bounce back here tonight? Let me know what your key to the game is, and I may just read it live here on the air. Let's go up to San Francisco.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Tony, let's start with the Padres offense. Obviously, it has not been a good stretch for this offense. Last night in particular was very quiet. They struggled against that sinker from the right-hander Trevor McDonald. And speaking of sinkers, they face a good sinker baller here tonight in Logan Webb. He's right there with the best of them. How do the Padres change their fortune tonight against another very, very good sinker?
I mean, listen, there's two answers to this question.
Mm-hmm.
If Webb is on his game in the same way McDonald was yesterday, there's a discipline that has to take place in terms of what your game plan is. Typically a sinker baller, you're trying to get him up. In a game like yesterday, to be honest, McDonald didn't really make any mistakes up until that sixth inning. But when you are able to stay locked in, even when you're making outs, even when it's not going your way, you're dialed in still when those mistakes happen. And I think you started to see some frustration as that game went on because McDonald was so good. And it's going to be the same thing with Webb. Webb is even more likely to be on his game. And if that's going to be the case, there is a discipline that has to kind of permeate through the whole lineup, 1 through 9. And that means you're going to sometimes be, a lot of times, if he's on, behind a lot of times. You're just going to have to try to drag these at-bats out. I just thought they kind of lost their way a little bit, which is why McDonald was into the seventh or the sixth inning with like 70-something pitches.
Well, we know Craig Stammen has not been shy to change up the lineup when he feels like it needs a little mix-up. Padres did that here today. I'll get into the particulars of it a little bit later, but part of it today, Fernando Tatis Jr. dropped down in the order to fifth. It's the question that Tony, a lot of people are focusing on right now. It feels like there's a lot swirling around Fernando as far as people trying to figure out what exactly is going on. What's your take on what Fernando is going through right now?
He's just in a tough stretch. And, I think naturally for anybody, any player that is in one of these stretches, there are times where your frustration gets the best of you. And, and that's what you're trying to avoid. And I thought for the most part, Toddy has been able to do that despite him not getting the type of production that he would like. But certainly dropping him down to the fifth spot can maybe be a little bit of a breather in terms of the pressure that you have. Now, that all goes out the window if he comes up in the first and there's runners on second and third.
Right.
And, you're asked to be able to come through. But I think for the most part, that spot in the lineup is a little less pressure than maybe the 1, 2, 3 spot which he's hit most of the season.
Tony, Sung-Mun Song will get his first start in the major leagues, get his first at bat in the major leagues here today when he comes up batting last tonight, playing second base. We saw Song plenty during spring training before he was dealing with that oblique injury. But from what you know about Song, from what you've seen from Song in the brief period we saw him in the spring, what do you hope that Sung-Mun Song brings to this lineup, to this team?
Some offense.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I don't know what it is that, we necessarily got a chance to see during spring because he only participated in a few games.
Right.
But I think at this point, the Padres needed a jolt offensively. I hope that Song is able to provide some of that from his spot in the lineup. Certainly hitting in that 9 spot can be important, right? If you're able to turn the lineup over and get it to the top guys with runners on, you're hoping you can create some offense. And so I'm excited for him. He gets a chance to make his major league debut here today in terms of in the lineup, and we'll see how it goes.
Tony, Walker Buehler on the mound for the Padres today. It seemed this way throughout the early part of this season, and he's talked about it. It just seems like Walker's really close to kind of putting it all together, this new version of himself. There's been some good stretches. There's been some tougher innings. To you, how does Walker Buehler, I suppose, take that sort of next step in his season and what he's doing?
It's really for Walker, it's really about being able to repeat some of the things that he's working on with Ruben and be able to hold it for the length of his start. And I think sometimes, he's mentioned it, those things, he kind of loses it for a second. I think when he can figure out how to be that version of himself the whole time, you could see the complete version of complete 2.0 version of Buehler here. Hopefully that's tonight that we get a chance to see it.
Tony, good insight as always. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:35. As always, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for the second game of this 3-game series. A lot to do on our pregame coverage. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll take a look at this different-looking Padres lineup today in its entirety, and we'll also recap some of the moves the Padres made today because they made a number of transactions earlier today, so we'll get to all of that. We'll have who's hot, who's not. A full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Again, later we'll also hear from Sung-Mun Song ahead of his first major league start. A lot to do as we walk you up towards first pitch in Game 2 of this 3-game series at Oracle Park in San Francisco. We continue on our pregame coverage after this. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45 at Oracle Park in San Francisco. Middle game of this 3-game series. Our pregame coverage is always brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. Padres did make a number of moves before today's game. They recalled infielder Sung-Mun Song from AAA El Paso. Song in the lineup tonight, batting ninth and playing second base. The corresponding move there, the Padres placing Jake Cronenworth on the 7-day IL with concussion symptoms. We'll hear about that a little bit later in our injury report. Craig Stammen asked a lot of questions about Jake's status earlier today. A Another move the Padres made today, left-hander Yuki Matsui reinstated from the 15-day IL. Remember, that was an injury that went back to spring training, long rehab assignment for Yuki, and left-hander Kyle Hart was optioned to AAA El Paso. So lefty for lefty in the bullpen. Matsui is back and Kyle Hart is down to AAA. We mentioned with Tony, the Padres shaking up this lineup here today. They really did. It looks like this. Jackson Merrill in center field leading off. Manny Machado at third base batting second. Miguel Andujar, the DH, batting third. Gavin Sheets at first base batting cleanup. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting sixth. Nick Castellanos tonight in left field batting seventh. Luis Camposano doing the catching batting eighth. And Sung-Mun Song at second base batting ninth with right-hander Walker Buehler on the mound. To focus on the Fernando part of it, he's batting fifth. It's the lowest he's hit in the batting order since his 2019 rookie season. So as we know, this has been a tough start to the year for Fernando. Still no home runs on the season, very little extra base hits on the season. Pretty dramatic. Padres dropping him down to fifth in the lineup. Again, lowest he's hit since his rookie year in 2019. With all that in mind, let's go inside the Padres dugout in San Francisco and hear from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
What was the conversation like with someone about just coming up and what your expectations are from him?
Yeah, he's excited. He's got a new haircut, so he's fired up about being in the big leagues, and he's going to get a start tonight and see how he goes. But we loved having him in spring training. He brought some energy to our team. He's going to bring energy to our team tonight. We've always considered him a part of this team. Just, wasn't on the team right at the beginning, but we've got him now and, integral part of what we're trying to do here.
The Yuki transaction, you touched on his role a little bit yesterday. Has any of that changed, and how do you anticipate using him, like soft landing, or are you putting him right in the fire? What's your anticipation?
Yeah, I feel really good about his rehab and how many innings he threw and, the types of games he was put into, that he could pitch in any situation here in the big leagues. Obviously, we sent Kyle Hart down, so Yuki will kind of fill that similar role as Kyle.
What was the conversation like with Kyle?
Yeah, it was tough. He's not one that's probably deserving of being sent to AAA. I don't view him as a AAA pitcher. He's a big leaguer. He's going to be a huge part of our success as a team. He has been a huge success, a huge part of the success of our team so far. But in the end, we want to try to keep as much depth as we can on the roster. You never know what can happen with pitching and injuries and, weird things that happen throughout the year. So when a guy has options, sometimes it can be a good thing, and sometimes it can, hurt their chances of staying on the roster. And that's, Kyle Hart's situation right now.
You're looking at Waldron still for tomorrow. Is that in pen or in pencil?
Waldron is going to pitch tomorrow. Yes.
He's going to start tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's going to start tomorrow. I think that's what we're going to go with. I can keep you guys honest.
Hey, you made a move in the lineup, moving Toddy down. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think just trying to switch it up a little bit, the whole entire lineup in general. And I think Toddy just maybe taking a little bit of pressure off of him at the plate to make him, hopefully he can work on a few things and not feel like he has to get the job done in the 5-0. I don't think that, going 2-5, does that really matter that much? I don't know, but we'll see. But I think just shaking things up, put people in different situations, different order, maybe we'll turn their brains on a little bit and we'll, ignite the offense.
Is Song against right-handers, and might you have a different second baseman when you're facing lefties? Or? Yeah,
possibly. Haven't quite thought that far ahead. Just getting him here, got to see what he looks like. He's facing a tough pitcher tonight, so see how comfortable he is. But now we have the opportunity a little bit to move him around the infield and get those guys days off like we were talking about. That may be the case. Maybe, we still have the option of putting Fernando at second base. Definitely a part of our plans. We're not going to stop doing that just because Song's here.
What's his best position as far as your early assessment?
Yeah, third base is where he's most comfortable. That's what he's played, virtually his entire career. He's played a lot of second base also, but third base is where he's most comfortable. We have a future Hall of Famer over there at third base too. But that guy needs a few days off here and there.
Not every lineup change is worthy of like a discussion with the guy. But what was this process like with Fernando? Because he hasn't hit as low as he's hitting today since 2019.
Yeah, we talked about it, and the best thing about Fernando is he doesn't really care. He just wants to play baseball, and he knows it's part of the game, and he knows he can impact the game from any position in the lineup.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear a little bit more from Craig coming up later on as we talk more about Jake Cronenworth and what's going on with Jake. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
In the hot category, Miguel Andujar. He had an 8-game hitting streak snap last night, but we'll keep Miguel in the hot category today. If you go back to the beginning of April, he's hitting .329 with an .885 OPS, 6 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs in that span. The not category, Fernando Tatis Jr., he's 0 for 8 in his last 2 games, no home runs in 33 games this season, his longest single-year homerless drought in his career. And that is a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming up in San Francisco. Now let's take a wider look at the major leagues as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Pirates reliever Chris Davinsky was suspended for 2 games and fined for intentionally throwing at Reds rookie Sal Stewart. MLB announced a 3-game ban for Davinsky earlier today, then said the suspension was reduced to 2 games later today after negotiations with the Players Association. Davinsky will begin serving the suspension tonight. Pirates manager Don Kelly was also suspended for 1 game and received an undisclosed fine. Red Sox outfielder Roman Anthony is day-to-day with a sprained right wrist. He will not be placed on the IL just yet. Red Sox interim manager Chad Tracy said today that Anthony saw a hand specialist in Boston. For now, he'll be day-to-day. Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh is back in the starting lineup today against the Braves. He had missed 3 games because of a sore right side. The Twins say right-hander Joe Ryan could make his next start. He left Sunday's outing because of soreness in his throwing elbow, but he apparently does not have any structural damage in that arm through today. Felt normal. Plan is he'll throw a bullpen tomorrow, and sounds like if all goes well, despite coming out of that start, he will make his next outing for the Twins. Astros shortstop Carlos Correa was scratched from Houston's lineup today against the Dodgers because of a left ankle injury. Shohei Ohtani pitching tonight for LA. He will pitch and not hit once again. His 3rd start this season where he is on the mound, but he's not in the lineup. Ohtani has been very good as a pitcher so far this year, a 0.60 ERA in 5 starts. How about this? The Marlins designating former Padres pitcher Chris Paddock for assignment earlier today. Paddock signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Marlins in the offseason. He posted a 7.63 ERA in 7 starts, including a start on Sunday where he gave up 6 runs in the first inning. Finally, the Yankees have announced that they will wear a patch on their jersey sleeves to honor longtime radio voice John Sterling. Beginning on May 18th and through the end of the season, the patch features Sterling's name, a microphone with a Yankee logo on it, and pinstripes in the background. Sterling, as we discussed quite a bit yesterday, passed away at the age of 87 yesterday. Very, very sad news. He'll be dearly, dearly missed both in New York and beyond. And a nice gesture there by the Yankees. They will wear a patch honoring John Sterling beginning on May 18th. And that's a look at headlines from around the major leagues. When we come back, we tell you about one important Giant that is out of their lineup here today. We also hear from Sung-Mun Song ahead of his first ever Major League start, our keys to today's game, and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 6:45 at Oracle Park in San Francisco on the Padres Radio Network.
An injury report presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit him up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, the Giants do have one key contributor missing from their lineup today. That is Luis Arise. Giants manager Tony Vitello saying earlier today that Arise was a little sore after a swing last night. So he gets the day off. They're hopeful he'll be back tomorrow, but Arise is not in the Giants lineup here today. Giants do have one of their key outfielders, Harrison Bader, beginning a rehab assignment tonight at AAA Sacramento. As far as the Padres, we told you about this earlier. Padres putting Jake Cronenworth on the 7-day IL with concussion symptoms. That was one of the corresponding moves for Sung-Mun Song being recalled from AAA. Yuki Matsui reinstated from the 15-day IL. Kyle Hart option back to AAA El Paso. Here was Craig Stammen earlier today with more information on what's going on with Jake.
Yeah, Jake's just hasn't been himself here the last couple of days, and really yesterday was kind of more of those symptoms came to light. He played in the game, but it wasn't something that was going away. We felt like this was the best decision for him. I wish we'd have caught it earlier, but just stemming back from when he got hit in the chin, I think it's one of those concussions that didn't present itself right away, or the symptoms didn't present itself right away, and then it's kind of just not gone away over the course of time, and just yearly peeked back here and there. And then yesterday was a bad day, so we'll take care of him and do what's best for him going forward. But it's also an opportunity for Song to come up and have his opportunity in the big leagues.
With Jake, if you mentioned to you the symptoms were bugging him a little bit yesterday, can you talk a little bit about the decision that went into choosing to play him last night anyway?
Yeah, I think it was like the symptoms were, not drastic enough where he thought he needed to come out of the lineup. He said, I'm just not feeling well. And he had passed all the concussion protocol going into yesterday. And then we just kind of checked on him periodically throughout the game. Said, no, I'm fine. I'm playing fine. I'm seeing the ball fine. Everything was good. But then after the game, we just kind of sat down and was like, what's really the best decision, going forward? And that's what we came to.
He said it seemed to be bothering him more late, like he was depth perception and seeing pitches in their actual location, bothering him less so, according to him, in the field. And I would imagine that's part of just the uncertainty of concussions and head injuries.
Right. And him explaining is like he's never had a concussion. I've never had a concussion. So you don't really know what a concussion is until you've actually had one. We had the situation with Austin Nola a few years back where he felt like he was fine, but in the end, like the ball was, his bat wasn't going where the ball was. And he's like, I can hit it. I just can't hit it square anymore. And like having thoughts like that. And I think Jake is going through something similar where just over the course of time, he could figure out like something wasn't right. Something was just a little off. It wasn't, being in Colorado or being in Mexico City. This is something that's lasting a little bit longer than he thought. What's
the treatment protocol for something like this now? What does he do between now and over the next 7 days?
Well, I think rest is number one, and he's able to take a step back and not feel the pressure to play every day. That should help, number one. I think not knowing what it was and then just trying to, get through it and then travel to Colorado, travel to Mexico City, come back to San Diego, get a lot of family in town against the White Sox. All those things are like contributors to, things manifesting themselves here this week.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
By the way, again, that was Craig Stammen talking about the latest on Jake Cronenworth. We take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday. We have one final today. Rays beat the Blue Jays 4-3 in Tampa Bay. We've got a handful of games going on right now. Phillies ahead of the A's 9-1 in Philadelphia in the 9th inning. Orioles 7, Marlins 6 in Miami in the 8th inning. Red Sox 10, Tigers 3 in Detroit in the 9th. The Twins 10, Nationals 3 in D.C. in the 9th inning. Yankees leading the Rangers 6-3 in New York in the 8th inning. Reds 2, Cubs 0 in Chicago in the 6th inning. Royals 5, Guardians 3 in Kansas City in the 7th inning, Astros 2, and the Dodgers 0 in Houston in the 5th. We have a number of games still yet to begin aside from this one. White Sox and the Angels at 6:38 in Anaheim, Braves and the Mariners in Seattle at 6:40, Pirates and the Diamondbacks at 6:40 in Arizona. We had a couple of games postponed today due to weather. Brewers and the Cardinals were postponed in St. Louis. They'll make up that game on July 7th. Mets and the Rockies postponed in Colorado today. It's snowing in Colorado today in Denver, and they'll make that game up on a Thursday. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday evening. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later in our post-game coverage. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, don't let Schmidt beat ya. Casey Schmidt leads the Giants in both home runs and RBIs this season. 5 home runs and 16 RBIs on the year. He hit their first home run in over a week last night. The Giants' first home run since Schmidt homered back on April 26th. So the rest of the Giants, not named Casey Schmidt, do not have a home run in their last 232 at-bats combined. That's now across a span of 8 games. Schmidt back in the lineup today for the Giants, playing second base and batting second. Man, if there's one guy in this lineup who you don't want to beat you right now, it's Casey Schmidt. Don't let it happen here today. That's key number 1. Key number 2, don't let Raffy get going. I'm talking about the Giants' Rafael Devers. He's playing first base and batting third tonight. Devers had gone, or I should say has gone, 22 straight games without a home run. He did drive in a couple of runs yesterday, so hopefully that's not a sign of Devers starting to find it again. Don't let him get going here tonight and in this series. That's key number 2. Key number 3, Buehler battling on the road. Games away from Petco Park have not been particularly kind to Walker Buehler so far this season. He's given up 8 earned runs in 5 innings and a third in 2 road starts this season. Buehler faced the Giants in his season debut, gave up 2 runs in 4 2/3 innings. He walked 3, allowed 3 hits. Buehler has allowed just 1 home run this season, so hopefully a good sign against the Giants team, again, struggling to hit home runs. Buehler battling on the road. That's key number 3. Key number 4, win against Webb where you can. Logan Webb, as we know, the Giants right-hander, is a tough customer. He held the Phillies to 1 run in 7 innings last Thursday. Webb held the Padres to 3 runs in 6 innings in San Diego on March 31st, despite issuing 4 walks. The Padres, bottom line, this is beyond Logan Webb, have simply struggled to score against starting pitchers. They're batting just .211 as a team with a collective .608 OPS against starting pitchers this season. And the bottom line is this offense, whether against starters or relievers, they've struggled as a whole lately, just 15 runs combined in their last 6 games. Padres have not scored more than 4 runs in a week. So I bring all that up to say, Logan Webb, he's the kind of guy that you might have a chance or 2 against him throughout the course of the outing. When you have scoring opportunities against Logan Webb, you got to take advantage, especially if it's early. When you have a chance to get him early, do not let this guy settle in. We know he's really good. He's a guy who can settle in. Padres struggled with that sinker yesterday from the right-hander Trevor McDonald. Guess what? Logan Webb has one heck of a sinker. Keep an eye on that here tonight. Win against Webb when and where you can. And that's key number 4 in today's game as we get ready for game 2 of this 3-game series. When we come back, we take a look at one Padre in particular that's starting to heat up. And we also hear from tonight's second baseman, Sung-Mun Song, ahead of his first start in the major leagues. First pitch coming up in just a little bit up in San Francisco, right here on the Padres Radio Network. For EcoWater SoCal, Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 6:45 in San Francisco. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in under 10 minutes. Well, one of the headlines heading into tonight's game, Sung-Mun Song playing second base for the Padres here tonight and making his first ever major league start. Song recalled from AAA El Paso earlier today. Remember, Song did technically make his major league debut in the series in Mexico City, came into the game as a pinch runner, but tonight he'll play the field and he'll get his first major league at-bats, batting ninth and playing second base. Of course, the Padres signed Song this past offseason, a 4-year deal worth $15 million. Song hit .315 with a career-high 26 home runs, 90 RBIs last season for South Korea's Kiwoom Heroes. He's a guy the Padres have high expectations for. They hope he can be a big part of this team, a big part of this organization. Song spoke inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today alongside interpreter Jun Yi.
How do you feel about your opportunity here tonight and moving forward?
지금 오늘 이렇게 기회를 받게 됐는데 그 기회에 대해 어떻게 생각하는지.
너무 감사하고 너무 소중하고 정말 야구하면서 수없이 꿈꿔왔던 그 순간이고 그런 기분인 것 같아요.
It's a moment I've been waiting for. It's very thankful to get the opportunity. I'm looking forward to play today.
How much do you think this time down in AAA has prepared you for all parts of the game at the major league level?
이제 마이너리그에서 경기를 치렀는데 그런 과정들이 이 메이저리그의 준비 과정에 어느 정도 영향을 미친 것 같은지.
정말 어떻게 보면 저에게 필요한 시간이었던 것 같고 제가 캠프 때 스프링 트레이닝 기간에 부상도 있었고 또 그런 부분에 있어서 실전 감각이 사실 다 올라온 상태는 아니었기 때문에 그런 트리플A에서 경기를 많이 뛰면서 여러 포지션도 해보고 타석도 많이 서보고 새로운 유형의 투수 상대해보면서 많이 이제 도움이 됐던 시간이었던 것 같습니다.
It was definitely time that I needed because I had a injury in spring camp and coming back from injury, I had no feel of the game. Like getting reps in the AAA, playing multiple positions helped me a lot. So it's a great experience in AAA.
How special is it that this is working out? Your old teammate Lee is here and you get to be on the same field as him.
오늘 이제 상대팀에 이정우 선수도 같이 있는데 전 팀 동료로서 이제 맞대결 하게 됐는데 기분이 감회가 어떤지.
사실 좀 정말 꿈꿔왔던 자리였고 너무 설레는 마음도 있었고 긴장도 조금 분명히 될 수도 있다라고 생각을 하는데 또 상대팀에 정우가 있으니까 긴장될 땐 정우 보면서 긴장을 좀 풀면 좋을 것 같습니다.
Definitely felt a little bit nervous coming up, but I mean we have Jung Lee on the other side. Like we played together, so I'll look at him whenever I'm playing. I'm nervous. I might get a little bit friendliness from Jung Lee.
Did you talk to him today?
오늘 뭐 같이 얘기를 아직 해봤나요?
아니요 아직 지금 정신이 하나도 없어가지고 아직 적응을 하는 중이라서 아직 못 해봤습니다.
I'm getting used to this atmosphere, so I haven't talked to him yet.
That was Sung-Mun Song earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse alongside interpreter Jun Yi. And yes, very cool today that Song will be playing second base for the Padres. Jung-Hoo Lee playing right field for the San Francisco Giants. A couple of guys that played in the KBO. And now Song getting his first opportunity to play in the field and get at bats today for the Padres. And hopefully Song will be a contributor to a Padres win here tonight. Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up at 6:45. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for here tonight. Can Jackson Merrill continue to heat up and find success against the Giants in particular? Merrill is 5 for 12 in his last 3 games, a home run last night. That followed an 11-game stretch to end April where Merrill hit .095. Jackson has been very good against the Giants this season. In particular, he's hitting .313 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs in 4 games against San Francisco so far this season. So What else does Jackson Merrill have in store here tonight? It is fourth home run of the season in the first inning last night, and Jackson leading off for the Padres, playing center field, of course, here today. And that's what to watch for in today's game. Let's set the table one more time for you as we get ready for this one. Again, some interesting notes about the Padres lineup today, including Fernando Tatis Jr. dropped to fifth in the order, the lowest he's hit since his 2019 rookie season. So we'll see if dropping Fernando down a little bit can get him going. Padres come in 20-14. The Giants come in 14-21. Padres in a bit of a rough stretch right now. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games. They're trying to avoid a third consecutive series loss. The Giants, meanwhile, winning yesterday's game 3-2. They snapped a season worst 6-game losing streak last night. Right-hander Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants here today. Right-hander Walker Buehler on the mound for the Padres. Buehler comes in a 1-1 record, a 5.40 ERA. Webb comes in a 2-3 mark, a 4.30 ERA. As always, we appreciate you listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Well, last night, the Padres offense very, very quiet. We'll see if the Padres can get the bats going here tonight against Logan Webb and the Giants when we come back. Jesse Ackler, Tony Gwynn Jr. standing by, ready to go. We send it up to them in San Francisco at Oracle Park. That comes your way when we come back. Again, you're listening to the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.